Here, I gathered some supplies that I'll be using throughout today and check some of this stuff out. All right, so just a leftover tarp I had from painting in my house. That'll be pretty useful for parts of the car I'm trying to cover. Some cardboard, who knows, you know. Trash bags, probably wrap around the brake discs so that no plastidip gets in between anything. They do recommend about 5 cans, I believe, for a full set of coats for your 4 tires, but I'll also be doing the kidney on the right and the left side and the rear spoiler, so I bumped it up to 6. We got 2 clear coats here. This right here is just a sure built trigger, so if anyone has ever tried spray painting anything before, you know that your finger gets pretty exhausted after 3 cans or so, so I try to avoid that. This right here is just a sanding block, so I got some sandpaper for the curb rash that I'm trying to finish off sanding. 60 would be like the roughest, it'd be a little gritty, and then you got the 220 for extra fine. I got the P600 for a smoother finish, the P800 to get the whole wheel scuffed if I need to, a little cloth, some masking tape, note cards, you know, that's about it. Keep it simple and hopefully we'll make use of everything we have here. Don't forget your scissors, you'll definitely need those. And let's get right to it, baby. Very important that you do take time to go ahead and detail and wash this car before you apply anything to it. So I spent about 3 hours doing that yesterday. Gave me a nice little preset. Unfortunately, I had to drive this morning on about an hour-and-a-half commute, so it did collect some dust again. I will be going ahead and repolishing everything before I jump to it. But first things first, I'm gonna sand down the rest of the curb rash that I still have to touch up. So let me just give you a rundown of what that looks like. This was my worst wheel here. As you could see, has some nicks right there. All that is sanded down already for the most part, but still some more nicks, you know. I was gonna add a little bit of that alloy tone spray to it and polish it to get the same matching color as this, but I figured if I'm gonna go ahead and do that, I might as well just spray paint it with some plastidip, cover it up until I need these wheels again, and then I could do that. So this rear wheel is actually looking a lot better. Little plastidip action covered all this up. Curb rash wasn't too shabby on this wheel. Pretty much the front right one that was the worst. And let me just give you a walk around. Got a nice rash right there that I try to sand down. So when you come to sanding it down, just all about getting that balance of smoothness, you know? You don't want to leave any of these scuff marks. So I'm gonna get into little deep groove before we get anything really going, you know? Perfect. And this wheel's good as is, but let's get this show on the road. P600, which is going to be pretty fine, so that you could get a nice finish perhaps on everything that you touched already. My curb rash is probably not going to be obsolete, but it will definitely be better than when I started and how it looked originally. And that's really what matters to me. Try to keep them as crispy as possible for as long as possible. But I guarantee we won't be disappointed with the finished product because I'm a pretty picky person. And I know I won't be settled until I get a great final result. There it is. P600. Been wiping everything down with a rag for the most part, but I'm gonna go ahead and rinse the wheels, then let them dry, get a rag, make sure they're dry. Probably start on the kidney and the spoiler in the meanwhile while they dry. Luckily we have the garage to work in. Tires off after this. Like I said, make sure they're crispy, clean, and smooth as possible because it's all about the smooth finish. As long as you feel that they're all leveled and textured, you should be good. There might be a couple grooves that you could fill with Bond if you did want to go that route, but in my case, the plastidip will be layered on pretty thick, so it will fill the tiny bumps left, so I'm not too worried. This wheel right here that I'm about to show you is in as good of condition as it gets. I only fixed like one little scuff, so I'll show you from there and go all the way down to the worst wheel, which has some nooks and crannies in it, but like I said, hopefully we'll work right past it. So here we go. This is wheel number 1. If you look, it's almost in perfect condition. It's just a little sanding I did right there for a tiny pebble that probably hit it, but not too worried. Now, yeah, these wheels do look ugly when they're sanded like this, right? So the furthest we hit them with is the P600. I have the scuffing paper left, so I'll go ahead and finalize that, make sure we get them nice and smooth so that there's no unbalanced surfaces. Check it out. Yeah, it's the back right wheel right here. So when you do sand, you want to make sure you try to stay away from the tire and affect as little of the rim as possible, right? Because you don't want to go ahead and, you know, deep sand your whole rim. You don't need that. It just, the rough edges like this used to be horrible of a curb rash, and now all I got left are probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a couple tiny little scratches, but like I said, those will probably be filled with the plastidip or paint if you choose to go that route. You'll be a true testimony of our final product, because this wheel got jacked up. Straight up jacked up. Man, I was considering throwing this whole away, but you know, it's cool. We'll work what we got until future reference, you know? Yeah. All right, let me give these guys a rinse. Make sure you get all that dust out of there, because you can't paint or apply anything really unless the surface is perfectly clean. Perfectly clean. So I'm giving them a rinse. I'm gonna actually come by and run them down with some soap and my glove, just so that they get an even finer finish than what they have already. But looking pretty solid. I mean, if you look, you could barely tell that there's curb rash on this. So real quick, just a couple of tools that I'll be using to finalize the cleaning on these tires. These gloves that are super handy because you could literally stick your hand in them and your fingers wrap around every crevice in between the rims. Pretty cheap. Get them at AutoZone. Then I picked up this awesome little lug nut brush for about like $5 today. Let me show you how it works. Give you a nice little scoop of soap there. Check it out. Look at these lugs. Still got some dirt in them. Literally put it in there and just twist and it gets right in there, wraps around. Get these lugs as clean as possible because, like I said, you don't want to paint over any type of dirt, debris, none of that shit. You want your rim to be crispy. Let's get it. Oh, we got a surprise visitor. Check her out. Hey, Sugar. Hey, Sugar. For all you that don't know, that's baby girl Xena. Maybe I'll have her as a featured guest in my next video. Look at that. This thing gets all up in there. So I'm gonna do the same process for all these 4 tires and get back to you once they're clean and dry. All right, now it's time to wrap up this trunk. We're gonna wrap up this trunk. I got some plastic wrap set out here. Wrap up the trunk, wrap up the inside and the grooves of this. Luckily, they're already black, so all I'm gonna worry about plasti dipping is this chrome out skirt. Perfect. We got some special guests out here that you don't want to feature in any video.
Trying to get hooped by Guru? Let me know.
Yeah, if you're trying to
my crusty ass.
If you're trying to definitely not get crossed, come play this one. Look at this clown ass nigga interrupting my situation. Yo, if anyone wants to hoop him one-on-one, he's trash, so pull up.
Yeah, I feel bad. That's like...
Speaking of trash, look at my beautiful old Civic. Don't ever forget where you came from, boys and girls. Don't ever forget it. And if you need to know, this wasn't even my worst car. I had a worse car than this. I'll post it in a link just so I could blow y'all away. But I don't know if you're ready for that content yet. Just follow up so you can see where we really came from. All right, back to work. The shit's getting dark, but luckily I got a garage to work in. All right, so these wheels are finally dried up. Feeling ready to paint. I'm excited. Just about at the point where I'm about to wrap up the trunk area so that we could get work done on the spoiler, also these kidneys, and then I'll probably move the operation inside into the garage so we could get the work done on the wheels and wrap up the brake discs and so forth from there. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Cool. than how good the finished product and final product is. Luckily, I have this enclosed space to work in. Sure, it will make a significant difference rather than painting outdoors in like wind conditions or dust flying. You know, you don't want to let any of that alter your plastidipping conditions. Also took a little second to wrap up the air valve right there just so that all of them are matching, just the cap area, you know. The rest doesn't really bother me. If it's dip, might give it a nice complete look. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, get to the next step. Also, while you're prepping, make sure to get a nice bucket of warm water or hot water depending on where you're at, preferably warm, where you could soak your bottle. So go ahead and shake your Plastidip cans, right? You want to make sure they're nice and shook. So you don't want any bubbles forming in there. You don't want anything too cold being around those cans because it will cause them to spray funny. You don't want that happening. It's going to cause bubbles and splatter and all this shit that you don't want to deal with, and it's going to kill your whole product. So yeah, let those sit for about 10 to 20 minutes while you finish the rest of that, and it'll make the whole project pretty seamless. Best way to go ahead and wrap those brake calipers is to simply, let me just show you. Pretty easy, anyone could do it. Go ahead and take a trash bag. I'm sure everyone has at least a trash bag, right? Open it up and just slid it right down the back. Just like that, right? You're gonna open it down the bottom too so that you have a nice open surface. So check it out. This is what the final prep product looks like. Give you a little walk around. So it turns out this guy isn't making contact with the top of the can, so we're just gonna go with it. Check it out. This is how you're gonna apply your first coat, right? Waves. It'd be ideal if you probably got a mask too. What I'm doing is not the smartest, but we're gonna air out this place in just a little bit. Try my luck again with this gun or trigger on the next bottle, but for now, I gotta get the show on the road. So, we're gonna go in a nice, simple rhythm, and then finish out the outsides of the wheel. So we're gonna go with the spokes, right? We're gonna go. it dry. I'm gonna drop the clear coats on it. About 25 minutes to potentially an hour, depending on how soon this dries. It's only been like 15 minutes since the last coat. Spoiler here. Matte black. Almost feels like a whole new car. It's crazy. Just little details. Excited to see how it looks from curb rash to this. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be perfect, but it's definitely so much better than before. I mean, it's almost unnoticeable if you didn't really know. You could still see a couple crevices I could have probably filled with like a bond, but ultimately, I mean, geez. Let's see how this set of kidneys is looking. Kidney black. Gotta let these bad boys dry. Do not recommend after painting is, or my experience with painting these kidneys taught me that you really don't need that much plastic. That was a little overkill there because it started getting in the way. I had to start cutting it at one point. So if you don't want to get interrupted in the middle of your paint job, try to just stick to tape, you know? Keep the plastic on the main parts of the car, but don't get it that close to the actual objective of what you're trying to do, because it will get in your way. So hopefully I'll have to be extra cautious when I peel it off, make sure nothing's intertwined, but pretty confident that I'll be good. We had a card full. And on the trunk, I mean, I had to also do the same thing because, like I said, the plastic is excellent, protected the majority of the trunk, but ultimately I'm still gonna have to peel some dip off from under. So we're gonna let this sit, come back in a little bit, gloss it, let it dry, and see what we got for a product in the morning. It'll be exciting. Something to look forward to. Dope. It's looking like everything is nice and dry, which is exciting because today we get to go ahead and unwrap and peel. Right, let's get this show on the road. It's your boy Ab. I'm back and I'm better, baby. Yo, check it out. So, we have just underdone our experiment. The project is complete and I can't wait to share the results with you. There's some positive, there's some negatives, but ultimately it was a success. So the objective was to try to remove as much curb rash as we can. Go ahead and clean those wheels and give this car a more aggressive look. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a walk around and a walkthrough of how the car looks now. All right, check it out, check it out. So we had 6 objectives to paint overall. So 4 wheels, the spoiler, and the kidney grills. Unfortunately, my setup on the kidney grills didn't go as planned. I taped a little too close, so unfortunately the plastidip kind of attached to the tape when I was removing it, and I decided to pull the whole thing off, clean it, but it's okay because we could always redo it. That's why plastidip is so awesome. But for the most part, look at this right here. Let me show you how these beautiful wheels turned out, how the spoiler turned out. Ultimately, almost looks brand new. Finish there. We went and peeled out that center cap, peeled out the M Sport badge. I mean, the wheel is almost perfect. There's a couple light blemishes, but nothing crazy. Pretty satisfied with the color. Well, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to everybody who watched this video. I hope it helped at least one person. That would make it worth it for me, really. And if you guys want to see more videos, just let me know. I'm looking at that. It's looking like a wrap. I'm glad you guys could join me. Had a blast doing this project. Probably be doing some more random activities and, you know, sharing them with you guys. Maybe get into what I like to do for a living, which is trade currencies. Got some cool travel content for you from last year too. Maybe we could get it together and have you check it out. Let me know how you guys felt. Let me know what I could do better. Hopefully make some more cool videos and share them with you. Share what I do every day, you know. Yeah, bless up. Have a great day. It's Thanksgiving, so I'm about to enjoy with the family. Peace.